Our very own James Chow is our special contributor and a World Health Organization Goodwill Ambassador. He is there for us in New York. Good to see you there, James. Now, you are moderating the high-level meeting that starts in just an hour's time. Now, we live in a time of Ebola and AIDS. Why is AMR at the heart of UN Spotlight?
Well, simply, we're running out of medicines to effectively treat all kinds of infections. And the reason why it's so important, like AIDS, like Ebola, is that it doesn't respect any color, any creed, any kind of border. It literally affects everybody. So if you've had a cut, if you've had hip replacement, if you've had surgery for heart or for cancer, this applies to you. That you could be brought into a hospital, that you could be resistant to some of the superbugs that exist out there. And I think that the numbers that you gave us really tell us the whole story. 700,000 people a year. And if those current trends are not skewed, that's going to hit 10 million a year by the year 2050. What's exciting, though, is that while the technical expertise will continue to be centered around the physicians over in Geneva, the UN effort has now moved to New York. 193 countries coming together for this one high-level meeting. It's a historic opportunity, and I know that the UN uses that phrase an awful lot, but historic in terms of urgency, historic also in the fact lies within that we can do something about it. So research and development, adjusting prices, bringing access to communities where they don't even have access, quality of those antibiotics, and the fact that it literally is everywhere. It's in our soil, it's in our air, it's in our food. Farm producers are injecting antibiotics into meat to make animals grow faster. They're putting that out into the environment. That's affecting all goals across the SDGs, whether it be poverty, whether it be hunger, and whether it be environment, or whether it be above water or underwater. So literally, if you fix AMR, you're going to create healthy people, but also you're going to have stronger economies and a much stronger world. I think most of all, though, because it is so urgent, you're going to save lives.
Let's now move to Premier Lee, who just announced China is to pledge $100 million to help the world's refugees. What has been the reaction to that there in New York?
Well, I think $100 million is a significant sum, but if you really break that down and analyze the political significance of it, you've got China, not only the second biggest economy in the world today, but I think in this context and within this international setting, far more important, one of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, when China leads on this, I think really it brings other countries forward in funding, in recognizing that refugees really are the voiceless and that this is another voice that stands up for them. You know, I was meeting with some refugees the other day. In fact, 2 of the members of Team Refugee at the Rio Olympics, one Syrian swimmer, one South Sudanese athlete. And they were telling me that, you know, they're not a burden on society. They need, of course, help in this stopgap period in their lives and for their families' lives. But really what it's about, they want the right to education, to go to school. And what a lot of people forget, a lot of refugees aren't able to contribute. They're not allowed to work in many countries, so they want to be illegally allowed to work so that they can contribute, so that they have dignity, so that they can feel a part of it. And I think when you tie that up with what China is doing as being one of the major voices in the developing world, as I said, it's leading and it's pushing the front lines, but then I think it also underlines the role of the SDGs, which more than anything is about addressing social inequities, about narrowing inequalities, and about bringing poverty closer to the rich, so that what you have is a rich and aspirational middle class in between.
Thanks so much, James. Good to talk to you. James Chow joining us live in New York.